Ricky Pearsall has a subluxed shoulder, and Leonard Floyd and Yetur Gross-Matos have sprained knees. I'll discuss that and more next on this show. Welcome to my instant reaction post-game Grant Cohn show extravaganza. I'm the host, Grant Cohn. 49ers played a very important game. It was a preseason game. It was a tie, but it was for bragging rights, and neither team got any. So we'll talk about the news. The news is that Ricky Pearsall did in fact injure his shoulder in college. Mike Silver reported it earlier this week on KNBR. He didn't really report it. He mentioned it on KNBR. He didn't write it in the Chronicle unless I missed that article or even tweet it, but he mentioned it like, oh, by the way, Pearsall actually suffered this injury initially in college. Kyle was asked about it after the game, and he was like, I mean, yeah, it was his junior year in college, and it's a very common injury. So that's Kyle's interpretation, but the fact is, yes, he had this injury before. They knew. They drafted him anyway. He injured it again in OTAs, and then he injured it a third time 2 weeks ago. So I don't know if it's mild or severe, but it just seems like it's been lingering. It lingers. It's a lingerer. Lingers. So that's the news there. It sounds like I don't know. I mean, we don't know if he's going to play week 1, but it doesn't sound promising. And my prediction, based on very little information here, is that even if he is cleared to play week 1, he'll be inactive because he hasn't done anything this offseason. He missed all the preseason games and like all but 4 or 5 practices. And when he was in the practices, he wasn't like a full go. They wouldn't let him do one-on-one drills or anything exotic like that. So that's not great. Although I think it was starting to look like, even when they drafted Ricky Pearsall, there was never a feeling that, oh, he's going to be a big contributor his rookie year. I mean, maybe if they trade Brandon Aiyuk, then Ricky Pearsall could be, but from the hamstring, I mean, we're not even talking about the hamstring pull. He's got a recurring shoulder injury, plus he pulled his hamstring. This is looking like a horrendous pick. But it's too early to write him off. I mean, maybe he'll be completely recovered from this injury in a day. I don't think he will be. I just think it's interesting that they didn't mention anything about it. But that's me. Enough of Ricky. We got the information. Good for Mike Silver for breaking the news. Let's talk about Brandon Aiyuk. Brandon Aiyuk was at the game tonight. He traveled with the team. He was there wearing all black, which I think is funny because those are the Raiders colors. And then before the game, he was like standing talking to Antonio Pierce. He's such a troll, Brandon Aiyuk, which is great because, you know, game recognized game. I respect it. I don't understand what's going on. It's possible that like this is done right now. I don't know. Like, is it possible that they already agreed to an extension and for whatever reason they don't want to announce it? It's a secret extension. It's a double secret extension. I don't know. Maybe that's possible. Maybe. It just seems to me like I don't have any inside information. I have no inside information on this. It just seems to me like from Ike's perspective, if I was agent, I would tell him like, don't sign anything until like 2 weeks. Don't sign anything until September 5th at the earliest. What's the point? You can always sign that extension. They're not going to pull it. So wait and see if they give you more money. Like, wait. The deadline is week 1. That's still 2.5 weeks away. So I'm not an agent, but, you know, I am Jewish. So I was, using my inner Jewishness, I was thinking, what would you, sorry, I don't mean to go there, but I'm just saying, I feel like that's the move. You wait until right before. The season starts from Aiyuk's perspective. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he signed this already and he's happy and they're all good. But I don't know. Ricky didn't report that. And I'm still feeling like Ricky knows. That's basically where I'm coming from. And the last thing Ricky said is that, Aiyuk hasn't really been in the facility. I feel like if Aiyuk were to sign a contract, Ricky would be all over that. Knowing Ricky the way I do, I mean, God, we go back, him and with that dog. I feel like I've known him forever. So Brock was at the game. I just feel like Brock wants to be, Brandon wants to be mentioned. He wants to be part of the news cycle at all times. So he could have stayed home, but he showed up. Is it because he is happy? Is it because he likes the deal? Is it because he's close to the deal? Or is it because he wants attention? I'm going to go with that one. Every time Brandon does something and we're trying to interpret what it means, oh my God, does that mean he's about to sign a deal? Does that mean he's about to leak? Like he liked posts on Instagram that mentioned him going to Washington, Pittsburgh yesterday. Does that mean he's going to Washington, Pittsburgh? It just means he likes attention. That's why I feel like when he does sign an extension, the person who's going to break the story is Brandon or his girlfriend on Instagram or TikTok. Can you really imagine Brandon giving that scoop away to Jeremy Fowler or anyone? It just feels like he's filming a documentary. He's trying to make it interesting. It seems like it would probably be the most boring documentary of all time. Athlete gets paid. Oh my God. I can't wait to watch that. But if there's a little drama, could be a good show. So, yeah, I think Ike's just trying to build scenes into his movie that he's making. Are you going to watch that movie? The Brandon Aiyuk Gets Paid movie? Against all odds, one professional athlete wanted $2 million a year more than his team was offering him. And, he stood on business and really fought for what was right. I don't know. It's hard to, it just feels like rich people problems, the whole thing. Okay, enough of them. From the game tonight, it seemed like the number one story from the game tonight was injuries. If it's preseason and someone gets injured, that's the story. And I think was interesting was the Raiders didn't play their starters. They didn't even play their backups. They were just playing third stringers. They played a quarterback whose name was Carter for a while. First name. So the Niners went out and played their starters, which is fine. You got to whatever. But what's kind of rough about playing your starters against third stringers is third stringers are kind of clumsy. They kind of fall all over the place. They're not starters usually can play football and stay on their feet. Third stringers, I don't know. And there were people rolling up all over Leonard Floyd's legs, and it looked like he almost had a hyperextended knee or a high ankle sprain. He walked off the field under his own power, but he looked like he was in a lot of pain, and he's 32. So I'm not blaming Kyle for playing him, but just that sucks because 2 plays before that, Yetur Gross-Matos went down. And it didn't look like a super severe injury, but it also looked like a knee injury. It looked painful. And the Niners have no depth at that position. If those 2 guys aren't healthy week 1, and I'm not saying they won't be, for all I know, they'll be 100% healthy. But if by chance they're not, the Niners don't have a second D end, let alone a third, unless they would seriously play Robert Beal Jr. in a game that mattered, which I don't. What does he do well? Rush the quarterback, set an edge, drop into coverage? I don't think so. So all of a sudden it's remember, coming back to the Aiyuk thing, there were reports that the Niners were more than willing to trade him and had agreed to certain trades with certain teams. But the reason they're having I guess some holdups with the Steelers is that they want to get a wide receiver in return, and the Steelers don't have one that the Niners would want. So they're looking for another team that the Niners could throw picks at, and kind of a 3-team deal. The Niners don't really need another wide receiver, even though Ricky Pearsall's got the shoulder is subluxation a word? I don't think so. Sublux shoulder. But they have Debo and Jennings and Cowing. It's not bad. Plus Kittle and McCaffrey. What they need is defensive linemen. They have like 3 D linemen right now who aren't hurt. Bosa, Hargrave, Collins. And Hargrave is what, 31 and Collins is 29. So this wasn't ideal. And again, I'm not blaming Kyle because I blame him enough for a lot of things. Let's talk Jordan Mason, the good news of the day. Jordan Mason is really good. Okay, end of story. It's good to see Jordan Mason continue to improve. He's always run like this. But clearly, if he didn't know his assignments, he didn't know his blocking assignments, he could get the quarterback killed. You can't play. Sorry. I always wondered, like, how can a running back who's averaging 6 yards a carry not be able to play? Oh, you don't know your blocking assignments? Yeah, it's football. There's high stakes. You can't play. But now he does. And as you saw in the game, he's also a good like receiver. He makes difficult. He almost made that catch on the sideline. The toe tapper extended. Yeah, he's really good. And he's not super fast. He's not like Garendo, who I'm going to talk about him more on him in a minute. He looked decent, especially as a returner. Mason is just very decisive. He cuts up field almost instantly, and it seems like he gets 6 yards after contact. And I think he's going to be, well, I mean, it's possible they don't use him at all this year. It's possible that Christian McCaffrey comes back from this calf injury. My brother just texted me. Comes back from this calf injury and is fine and leads the league in touches and doesn't need a backup and refuses to come off the field. But like, let's talk about Christian for a second. He injured his calf, what, like 8 months ago? He had a calf injury last season late. And I don't know how much it cost him, but it was something he was dealing with. And now it's something he's dealing with again after a complete offseason where he gave it all the rest he could possibly give it. So I don't know. I mean, if something were to happen to that calf or whatever, that leg, you'd think, well, the Niners are 100% screwed if McCaffrey goes down. It wouldn't be ideal, but running backs go down all the time. And he's been like remarkably healthy since he got here. And he wasn't that kind of a running back before he got here. So at least being prepared for that very realistic possibility is good. And the Niners are more than prepared. Like, how many teams would Mason start for in the NFL? I mean, he'd start for the freaking Raiders. I'll tell you that. Is he better than Kenneth Walker on the Seahawks? Maybe. Is he better than James Conner on the Cardinals? Maybe. Is he better than Kyron Williams on the Rams? Yeah. This guy would start for like 20 teams. And he's entering his third year and has like, what, 80 carries in his entire career. He's built like freaking Marshawn Lynch. And what's so funny about him is I'm not sure he knows who Marshawn Lynch is. I asked him, they brought him to the podium for the first and only time like a couple of weeks ago. And I asked him like, hey man, like, how would you describe your running style? And he's like, just an angry dude running. Great answer. And I was like, who do you like model your game after? Which admittedly is just an awful question. And I'm sorry I asked it, but I'm kind of curious, sometimes I'm interested to know like who a running back is inspired by. And it seems like he's inspired the way he runs. But he was like, nope. He's like, I really don't watch football like that. He's like, don't get me wrong. I watch film. Like I do my homework. But like if I'm at home just chilling, like I'm not going to put on a football game. I was like, that's so honest. But you really don't hear football players say that very much. But I think it's more common than you think. A lot of these football players aren't like football junkies like you and I or whatever, certain football player or the way they make themselves seem. But I think a lot of them are just like, look, I'm really good at this. I'm a great athlete and I do this for a living. And when I go home, I don't want to I need to unplug. I don't want more football. So I respect that. I think he's a very interesting person. And like every year, there's someone who emerges who kind of keeps the team afloat that you wouldn't think would be a factor. Like in 2019, when this team first became a factor, uh, Jordan Mason, excuse me, Raheem Mostert was the guy, right? It was like Tevin Coleman, Jerick McKinnon went down. All of a sudden, Raheem Mostert steps up and as a backup that year really propels him to the Super Bowl. Off the bench in the NFC Championship game goes for like 220-something yards. So maybe Jordan Mason is that guy. Maybe this show is powered by BetUS. Maybe Jordan Mason is powered by BetUS. I wonder, like, how is he so strong? Maybe he has the power of BetUS under his wings. Did you think about that? No. But this show, sponsored and powered by BetUS, #1 sportsbook out there. We're going to go through some lines in a little bit. First, I want to talk about Brock Purdy. I just wanted to mention that this show is powered by BetUS because you didn't think it was. It's right above my head, but did I say it? No, I waited 15 minutes. And I should have said it right off the bat. It's my mistake. It's a bad habit. I'm trying to break it. But I remember now. Here we are. I waited until there are 1,400 people watching before I mentioned that this whole thing was powered by BetUS. But I want to talk about Brock Purdy. He made some really nice plays in this game. He's a hell of a quarterback. He's mobile. He made a nice scramble. He gets away from pressure. He can throw sidearm. Some high-level stuff. It seems like more and more when he goes out there, he can really show that he's a high-level quarterback. And then he throws an interception. That's sort of his pattern this year. He goes out, he makes some like plays that you're not used to him making. He used to just be the guy who, executed at a higher rate than Jimmy and avoided some pressure. Now, he's a playmaker. Sure, he's not as big as Jordan Love, or doesn't have as strong of an arm as Jordan Love, but he can make a lot of those plays that Jordan Love makes. And then he throws a pick. Today's pick was a forced, you call it a forced quick throw to Deebo Samuel running a slant. I don't know what, maybe he felt, sure, Deebo isn't the best route runner. And no, he doesn't necessarily like win per se on slants, but he's going against a third string corner. That's my guy. That's a starter. He was an all-pro. I'm just going to catch the ball, rock and fire to Deebo no matter what. So maybe you can justify the decision that way. But Deebo's not going to beat apparently a third string cornerback with a route. It's good to know. You want to learn during these interceptions. You learned. Deebo, don't throw to Deebo running a slant. Also, don't throw high to Deebo or behind him because Deebo's catch radius is this big. It's that big. So if you throw it here, he's not going to catch it. So look, Brock Purdy's offseason is done. And it wasn't great. And the question is, does it matter? He's like in the past, he had not a great offseason his rookie year, but he was a rookie and he didn't get that many reps and he made the team and then he took off. And then last year he didn't have a great offseason, but he was recovering from a torn elbow thing, UCL, whatchamacallit. And then he went on to have a great year. So it didn't matter. This year you're thinking like, all right, okay, third year in the league, we know he's a hell of a quarterback. He's got to be good in practice now, right? Like he's healthy, he's experienced, it's his team, he's going to tear it up. But he didn't. He had a super mid offseason and he threw a bunch of picks in training camp. And you figure like, okay, well, that's his opportunity to test his limits and learn things and get better. And then he did the same stuff in the preseason. Like what he did in the preseason is how he played in camp. A lot of nice plays and then the interception. So I still am confident because I'm a big Brock guy that this was all diagnostic for him. He's a little genius. And he's going to play much smarter in the regular season. He's going to take all of this data, raw information, download it into his brain, and not make these mistakes in the future. That's pretty much what I envision. Hold on. I just envisioned it. He's going to have the best year. No, wait. MVP. Hold on. Super Bowl MVP too. In a loss. That's how good he is. It's crazy, huh? Did you guys know? Hold on. Patrick Mahomes in 4 Super Bowls, 7 touchdown passes, 5 picks. Not great. That's Jimmy Garoppolo numbers. Not to call him Jimmy. Joe Montana in 4 Super Bowls, 11 touchdowns, no picks. So I still feel like Joe's the GOAT. And I feel like the reason the Chiefs have been winning these Super Bowls, yeah, they have Patrick Mahomes and he's hella good, but I still think it's Andy Reid. Patrick Mahomes is great, but he hasn't been great in Super Bowls. He's been very good, but 7 touchdowns and 5 picks isn't great. Andy Reid's been great. Steve Spagnuolo has been great. Those two are so underrated because they don't have like a system that a bunch of assistant coaches can take to other teams and sort of knock off. They're just really good coaches. What is the Andy Reid system? I like to ask that question. If you had to describe Andy Reid's system, how would you do that? You can't, really. Well, it kind of depends on the players he has. Does he have speed on the outside? Does he not? He can do it either way. Kyle's system, he has to have the gadget guy. He has to have the fullback. Anyway, this show is powered by BetUS. If you're looking for a new sports book this football season, look no freaking further than BetUS because it's the answer. They have the fastest payouts in the industry, 125% sign-up bonus up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits, fast and easy deposit withdrawal process. Just check out my BetUS link in the description below right now. Because they got 24/7 personalized service, 365 days, or 366 if we're talking leap year. They're open on that day. They got live wagering on all major games, not just some of them. They got the best betting variety in the business. You can get 10% back on your net losses twice a year. Did you know that? Did you know that BetUS can give you your very own personal account manager? You didn't know that, did you? Well, I just told you. So here's the thing. Let's check out what's going on week 1. What's going on week 1? BetUS. I want to know. Jets Niners. Niners 4-point favorites. Is that interesting? I think hell yeah. Why? Because they were 5-point favorites last week. Now they're 4-point favorites. What changed? What could be going on? Remember that scene in Pee Wee Herman where he brings all those people into his basement to try to figure out where his bike went? What does it mean? I don't know. 4-point favorites, and they were 5-point favorites last week. I feel like the odds makers know something we don't. This means that Brandon Aiyuk's getting re-signed, doesn't it? Or does it mean that the Niners have been messing around and their team is hella banged up and it's looking like, man, I mean, even if Trent Williams does come back, won't be in football shape. Even if Brandon Aiyuk does resign, won't be in football shape. What about Christian McCaffrey? Forget Talanoa Hufanga. Forget Dre Greenlaw. Forget Ricky Pierce. I mean, I don't know. They're still supposed to win, but an over-under of 44, expecting a very low-scoring game. 3 of those points are just because they're home. Interesting where that is trending. I gotta take the Jets. I'm not saying I'm picking the Jets to win, but 4 points, I gotta take the Jets. Like, that's a lot of points. The Lions are 3.5-point favorites over the Rams. I'm taking the Lions because they're great at home. If this were in LA, I would take probably the Lions too. They're really good if they're not outdoors. The Browns 2-point favorites over the Cowboys in Cleveland. Are you kidding me? The Browns. Deshaun Watson. I feel like people don't talk about, like, he sucks now. Why does he suck now? Because, like, how can he have any confidence? Like, I don't know. I'm not going to get too far into it, but it's like, yo, you're like kind of caught out there, man. Like, everyone kind of knows what you're all about. No one's super juiced to play with you. Like, it's embarrassing at best. So, no, I'm taking the Cowboys on that one. The Seahawks and Broncos, a lot of Bo Nix guys out there. See, like 5-point favorites over the Broncos. Like, no, not 5. I'm taking the Broncos. Just to cover. Bucks, Commanders +3. I'm taking them because clearly they're gonna have Aiyuk, and I want that action before people know. Chargers 3.5 over the Raiders. Yeah, the Raiders look like they're gonna not be great. Texans -1 over the Colts. Interessante. I'm taking the I'm taking the Colts at home because I don't know why. I feel like the Texans are a little overhyped. I mean, they're good, but like they have a lot of hype and they're on the road, and I wouldn't be surprised if they just lost a game. Bills -6. No, I'm taking the Cardinals. I'm team Kyler for no reason. Absolutely not. Bills are mid. Bears 4.5. Titans. Yeah, give me Bears. Bengals 9.5 over the Patriots. God, the Patriots really do suck that much, huh? I'm not betting on the Patriots for any reason. And the Saints 3.5 over the Panthers, sure. Giants, Vikings pick 'em. God, two just awful teams. Give me Sam Darnold. Forget it. Falcons, Steelers. Yuck. I'll take the. God. I'm take the Steelers just because I want the points. Dolphins, Jaguars. I'll take the Dolphins. And then Eagles, Packers. I'm going to take oh man, I don't feel good about it. No, I'm going to take the Packers. I don't like the Eagles as much without Shane Steichen. That's what I'm doing. Now I got to put money down. Hold on. Let me see how much I can do. How much? 100. What are you talking about? What? I can't. What are you talking about? What's the maximum? 0? I can't put anything down? Hold on. Well, I'm going to have to go back and figure that one out. But what you need to know is those are the right picks. And that BetUS is the place to pick them at. So do that. Kev F says, best or favorite late night eats in the town? Now, that's a good question. Okay. Late night eats in the town. There's not a lot. But if you're trying to get some food late, there's a place in Koreatown where I used to live back in the Tom Sula era called Dan Sung Sa. It's called the porno bar unofficially, just because there's some like racy posters on the wall, but nothing. I mean, tasteful. But the kitchen's open till I want to say at least 11, and it's like a full Korean barbecue. They got corn cheese. Have you ever had corn cheese? Do you know? Have you experienced the wonders of corn cheese? It's phenomenal. It's just that good. Also, Harry's Hofbrau is open till 11 every day. Every day. Harry's Hofbrau. It's open from 11 to 11 every day. Now, it's not the town, it's San Leandro, but it's like San Leandro's the Dro, which is next to the town. So, I mean, it's kind of similar. Okay, moving on. The backup quarterback competition. Brandon Allen is decent. He has a good arm. He knows the system. He's a solid backup quarterback. The problem is that he plays on the 49ers, who have terrible pass protection. Just the worst. Not the worst, but among the worst pass protection in the league. And he makes Jimmy Garoppolo look like Steve Young. He's just hella slow. Hella slow. I say this as a 36-year-old guy who hasn't really done a full sprint in like 6 or 7 years. I would smoke him today. Today. And that's not my narcissistic personality disorder talking at all. That's just the truth. So, meanwhile, Josh Dobbs can actually move. Tanner Mordecai can move. Brock Purdy can move. Brandon Allen can't move. Grant Cohn moves so well. Has all the moves. Brandon Allen, a bit of a robot. Lacks the fluidity and the sauce necessary to really succeed. But they're going to keep Brandon Allen. You already know that. And Tanner Mordecai is going to go to the practice squad, which is fine. But if another team takes Tanner, then I'm gonna be upset because I think that kid is just swell. Not Jewish you'd think with a name like Mordecai, like was he bar mitzvahed? Was he not? Don't know, but I'm pretty sure no. But I still like him. Still think he's got potential. I just don't think Brandon Allen has that potential at 32. But I'm 36 and I feel like I have some potential, not in football. Maybe in flag football. I'd like to see Tanner make the team. Maybe they can keep 4 quarterbacks and play Tanner at running back sometimes. They ran a 4.46. That's hella fast. I ran a 4.51 once upon a time on a track with spikes, which really shaves off 1/10 of a second. I mean, it's kind of like cheating. Can we talk about Garendo? Isaac Garendo. I'm so glad he's going to make the team because now I have to sing Garendo all the time. And I started doing it years ago. And now who knew? I heard from multiple sources that the number one reason the Niners drafted Garendo is because I sing Fernando after, and they thought it was funny. But it turns out he's good. Who knew? Definitely going to be the kick returner. So he's probably going to be active on game days. He's not going to play running back for them anytime soon. Like there'd have to be multiple injuries because right now it's McCaffrey and then Mason. I assume you can't underestimate Kyle's loyalty to Elijah Mitchell. You just can't. But yeah, the 4th running back will be Garendo. It seems like he'll be honestly, maybe they have Mitchell be inactive, right? Because if Garendo's the kick returner and Jordan Mason's like the actual backup, then like Elijah, like what would you say you do here? You don't play special teams. You're not a 3rd down back, not a change of pace back. Maybe they should just save Elijah till the playoffs anyway. Because whenever they get to the playoffs, he's hurt. I'm just happy that Garendo rhymes with Fernando and that he's good enough to make the team. If he gets good and starts scoring touchdowns and Greg Papa starts singing Garendo on the air, I'm going to freaking lose it, man. People steal my stuff all the time and they don't give me credit. And it hurts my feelings. Don't you think that'd be a phenomenal like touchdown call? Garendo at the 20, the 10, Garendo. Oh my God, man. Just with the vibrato, it would be so luscious. He has to become a good football player just for that. At the 40, the 30, the 20, Garendo. Oh my God, man. It would be so good. Come on. Do you think I could be a play-by-play announcer? Why not? I know football. I have a good voice. My mom said I could do whatever I want. No. The young Montana's been a member for 36 months. That's hella long, dude. That's it. That's roughly 3 years. Thank you. Marcus Mason says 4-man show last night was fire. It's four-man front. Yeah, it's four-man show. What's your best Kyle impression on why having the highest paid fullback in the league is such a necessity, but your only true X receiver is subjected to hardest negotiations? I don't do a good Kyle impression. The way he talks like makes my brain hurt. Man. I can't think that way. But like why can I just say that like I'm also not in favor of paying Brandon Aiyuk? I've never been. I think it's a mistake. It's a lot of money for 5 catches a game. Sorry. I'm on Kyle's side with that one. But paying Kyle Juszczyk to go in motion, I'm not. I don't support that. That seems wrong. Okay, Jacob Cowing. He did it again. He had another touchdown catch. He looks good. Okay, that's all I have to say about Jacob Cowing. Looks good. Here's how you know a pick the Niners made. Like, when the Niners took Pearsall and then Cowing, that should have been a red flag right there. Like, oh, the Niners have concerns about Pearsall. When they double up at a position, I feel like that's them saying, well, it could work out with the first guy we took there. It certainly could. But just in case it doesn't, we got this other guy too. So when they took Cowing, I feel like that should have alerted us that Pearsall had a subluxed shoulder. I mean, that was clear indicator. Oh, subluxation. Subluxation's got to be a word. If it's not, I just made it up. Jacob Cowing, what does he do? He's super quick. He's tough. He goes over the middle. He runs a nice slant. He runs a nice dig. He runs out and ups. He's got a nice route tree. He looks like maybe he's just a slot receiver. Maybe you can't put him at X because he's 5'7". But in the slot, you could do a whole lot with him. And like the Niners don't have a lot of wide splits anyway. I mean, how many of their formations, especially on first and second down when the quarterback's under center, has the wide receivers like right next to the tight ends and tackles anyway? Everyone's in the slot. Everyone's inside the numbers on the 49ers. Like, what freaking difference does it make what you call him? Who the slot receiver is? I think he's a nice. You line him up inside the numbers, and he's got a skill set that complements Debo and Jennings. And I'm not saying like, hey, like, just trade Aiyuk for whatever because Cowing had 2 good preseason games, but I'm also saying like, yo, trade Aiyuk for whatever because Cowing had 2 preseason games that were good. I like Cowing. And I think it just shows you that wide receivers are kind of a dime a dozen. They're not hard to find. And I just don't understand why the Niners drafted Pearsall. Like, 1, he had a shoulder. 2, he never had a 1,000-yard season ever in college. Not one. Not one. And he had 14 touchdowns in 5 years. What is that? What kind of resume is that, man? Jacob Cowing had 2,000-yard seasons in college at 2 different schools. He had 33 touchdowns in college in 5 years. Pearsall had 14. I don't give a damn that he made some tough catches in the SEC, dude. Like, wide receivers come from all over college. You don't have to come from the SEC. You can come from the Pac-12. Cowing's resume was actually like a resume. It was legit. Pearsall's was like non-existent. But if you watched some clips against some corners who didn't matter, he looked smooth. I don't know. That seems like another one of the Niners' just awful first-round picks, along with Reuben Foster, Solomon Thomas, Mike McGlinchey, and Trey Lance, and Javon Kinlaw. Right there. But Jacob Cowing looks like another one of these bailout day 3 picks that makes the Niners look like geniuses after they made themselves look like amateurs in the first round. I'm really excited about Jacob Cowing. This is a team that needs speed on it. Like, they have a bunch of good players, but they should have a guy like him, because if you have Debo, Aiyuk, Kittle, McCaffrey on the field at the same time, whoever the 5th weapon is, the 5th eligible receiver, is probably going to be wide open. fairly often or sometimes because no one's thinking about that guy. So instead of him being someone like Jawan Jennings or Kyle Juszczyk, who like a couple of guys who run a 4.7, how about someone who runs a freaking 4.3? So if the defense sleeps on that guy, boom, touchdown. I like that. That makes a lot of sense to me. So nice addition to the team. And then finally, that Cam Latu, man, he caught 3 passes today in a preseason game. And I think clearly that shows that he was a great pick in round 3. Cam, he's making the team, but I don't think he'll be active. I got to say, like, Cam and Willis, the 2 tight ends the Niners drafted last year, neither one looks at. Really, the Niners haven't drafted a wide receiver. I mean, the tight end that was good since Kittle. They seem completely incapable of scouting, developing that position. Now, Ross Dwelly had his moments, but really they seem like they're lost at the tight end position. Maybe Cam Latu's a long-term project who will get there eventually. But right now, I don't know, man. He needs some more. He needs to be powered by BetUS. Because right now he's powered by nothing. If he were powered by BetUS, I think he'd have a chance. But he's not. And that's a problem. Jen, I don't really have that much to say about it. Jen in Mission says, we got Snarky Kyle before week 1. What'd he say? I missed it. I wasn't there. Senor Elver Galarraga says, Grant, if you're in Vegas right now, let's go get some females and do some wow. Whew. Thanks a lot, man. I'm not. I'm at home. I'm keeping it real. I should really vet these super chats before I put them on the screen. Oscar Ladner says we're paying 2 running backs wide receiver money, Debo and CMC. True. Is anyone concerned about CMC? Is anyone concerned about Senor Elver Galarraga? Galarga. It's not even Galarraga. It was Galarga. Well, FBI, if you're looking for someone, it's Senor. He's not my friend. I don't know him. I've never even met him. He just said he was cool. I never met him. That's you. Have to talk to him. So I don't go to Vegas, man. That's why I don't go to Vegas. I don't need these kind of offers. I'm too famous. I'm so famous that like one 25-year-old guy every 2 months recognizes me and says, bro, and it really makes my day, my month. JCK510 says, why do they extend CMC before Trent Aiyuk when Mason is literally right there? Because Kyle wanted to go to CMC's wedding. Duh. CMC was like, you wanna come meet Shane Gillis? You gotta give me an extension. And Kyle was like, Parag, get it done. That's what happened. Trent Williams should have had like a celebrity wedding and invited Kyle. He didn't. Same with Aiyuk. That's on them. Feel me? All right. I think that's all the things we need to talk about. What else? Nick Zakelj, not so good. Dominic Pooney, future Hall of Famer. Devondre Campbell, kind of slow. D. Winters, kind of fast. That's all I got. All right. Thanks for watching. It's midnight on the West Coast. I'm gonna go to bed, wake up, freaking stream some more. Because why would you stop, dude? Are you kidding? There's so much to talk about right now. This team is ready for the Jets week 1. Let's go. I can't freaking wait. And neither can BetUS. And neither can you. Good night. Take care. Sweet dreams. All the best.